VNM simulations. You may or may not have heard of them. Started in mid-2020, this Vietnamese sim racing manufacturer is chipping into the high-end sim racing market and has been slowly releasing a whole ecosystem of gear. Today I'll be checking out their full metal 3-pedal pedal set with a 200 kg LoadCell brake. This pedal set was kindly sent over to me by Archangel Sim Racing Group, a distributor of high-end sim racing gear here in North America. Currently, VNM simulation products can only be purchased through specialized third-party sim racing distributors around the globe. They do this to reduce shipping times and provide better rates. Talking about rates, the VNM simulation pedal set starts at $650 for the 3 pedals without the base, $745 if you add the base, and up to $900 if you add the optional damper kit. It's certainly an expensive bit of gear, but looking at the competition in this segment, and especially when comparing the specs, calling this competitively priced could arguably be an understatement. Simply put, these are a good looking set of pedals. They're built entirely from CNC machined aluminum and have a black anodized finish. As opposed to other pedals at this price, VNM takes on a very minimalist design choice which makes them look a lot more subtle and stealthy when hooked up onto your rig. And onto a sturdy rig is practically the only option you have with them, as with a max 200 kg LoadCell brake, these are intended for only the most extreme sim racers. And with regards to what I said about its price, for reference, the Husing-built Sim Pedals Ultimate Plus, which also features the 200 kg LoadCell brake, retails for €1,098. Throughout my time using and tinkering around with these pedals, I really got a good sense of the quality of them. Apart from being made entirely from aluminum, all moving parts use ball bearings which provide an immensely smooth pedal actuation. The throttle and clutch use contactless sensors for longevity, and the 24-bit controller box provides rapid and precise signals back into the game. These pedals plug in via USB, and as you could have guessed, will only work on PC. Taking a look at the base plate, it's fairly unique in design and will allow for some subtle adjustments. It can be mounted with either T-nut slots for added versatility, or with regular nuts and bolts on the sides, which is how I ended up mounting them on mine. The base plate is nice to have and is built with the same high quality as the pedals themselves, but if you want to save money, I don't think you'll be losing much by not going with the base plate. It will save you nearly $100 and you'll still be able to independently mount the pedals onto a chassis, so it's just some food for thought. I definitely like and use the base plate, but if I were looking to save some money, I could justify using these pedals without it, and I could actually say the same about the optional damper kit. The damper kit retails for $170 and comes with 3 shock absorbers to give the pedal set a hydraulic feel. Now, I use the pedal set both with and without them, and I do think they feel better with them. On the throttle, it gives a feeling of mechanical resistance for added realism, and the resistance on the dampers can be changed by turning a small knob on the back of them. It also provides a bit more resistance on the clutch, and the brake also becomes stiffer. So, does it improve these pedals? Yes, but the thing is, I still truly believe that this is a very solid pedal set without them, and if I'm being completely honest, the feel of these pedals with and without the dampers isn't as drastic as you might think. I would say that if you're willing to spend a bit more to have the best feeling on all 3 pedals as possible, go for it, but if you are on a tighter budget, you won't be losing much while saving a considerable amount by not choosing the optional damper kit. And that of course leads me to my in-game experience with these pedals, where I'll start by talking about the throttle. The throttle has a fairly long travel and has a very smooth motion. Whether that be the ball bearings or the high quality spring, this throttle is the smoothest I've ever felt. As per its resistance, it's fairly light, which is what I like, but I know a lot of people who prefer a stiffer feel. This is one place where I feel the damper kit to have a big impact, as that does make it a lot heavier. Moving on, the brake pedal is, it's great, and for the price I'd expect it to be. There is lots with regards to adjustability that can be done here. At first I used this brake at its max resistance, and although I do understand why many people prefer this feel, I found it wasn't really for me, so I went down to a softer resistance where I really felt comfortable on track. A mix of springs, elastomers, and shock absorbers can be fine-tuned to configure this brake to your liking. Ultimately, I don't have any complaints when it comes to the brake. It is top-notch and reflective of its price tag, and I don't think many people will ever be maxing out its 200 kg load cell. The clutch is the only pedal where I'm not totally satisfied, and I say that because despite all of the adjustments I try to make, it always felt very dramatic. Like many higher end clutch pedals, you can clearly feel when you have reached its bite point, but on this one, that feeling is very exaggerated to the point where I had trouble comfortably controlling it on track. Moreover, it almost seems to catapult back when releasing it, which also made it trickier to control. VMH simulations should try to make the feel of it a lot more subtle to not only make it easier to control, but also more realistic. I definitely wouldn't say it's bad, and I could see many people liking the feel of it, but I personally prefer a more subtle feel with a shorter travel. Finally, moving on to the software, unfortunately there is a lot of work that needs to be done here. From my experience, the VNM configuration software was extremely laggy and unresponsive to the point where it was essentially useless. Every time I clicked on an option, it would take like 10 to 30 seconds to register, and some things didn't even react to my inputs. Now, I'm not really sure what's going on here. I tried uninstalling and reinstalling, but the problems persisted, so I'm thinking the software just needs some updating to make it work as intended. These problems meant I wasn't able to configure the pedals on its designated software, but the good news is that all major configurations can be done within the games themselves. So in all the games I played, all I had to do was make a few adjustments to dead zones and some calibrations, and everything was good to go. So in essence, at the time of this recording, the software needs some work, but I'm sure that is only a temporary problem. Since I am planning on using these pedals on my main rig for at least the next few weeks, I'll probably find out when it gets fixed. However, this really is a problem that shouldn't exist for a product of this price though. To wrap up my thoughts, despite the issues I experienced with the software, the VNM simulation pedals are seriously impressive. They're a good looking, high quality, and extremely capable set of pedals designed for those looking to get the max out of what this hobby can offer. The $650 price tag is competitively priced among high-end competitors, and I'll be looking forward to seeing how they hold up against those in the future. For the meantime though, these will be staying on my rig. As always, thank you all for watching, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day.